The Ithriyah-Raqqah offensive was a military operation launched in June 2016 by the Syrian Army with the stated goal of recapturing Ar-Raqqah. The battle resulted in an ISIL victory, after a series of ISIL counterattacks caused the Syrian Army to withdraw from the positions it had retaken in western Raqqah. Background: the offensive took place soon after two U.S.-supported Syrian Democratic Forces offensives were launched. One was in northern Ar-Raqqah with the goal of recapturing the northern Ar-Raqqah countryside, in preparation for a future offensive on the city. The second was launched towards the city of Manbij. The offensive. On the 2nd of June, Syrian government forces began the offensive at a distance of 120 kilometers from Ar-Raqqah. They quickly advanced 20 kilometers and captured the Abu al-Ziyan mountains and the al-Masba area. The next day, government troops captured the Sakia crossroad on the Hamar al-Raqqah provincial border, bringing them to within 47 kilometers from the ISIL-controlled Tabqa air base. Advances were hampered by ISIL's roadside bombs. Between 3 and 4 June, the military entered the Al-Raqqah governorate for the first time since 2014, and captured the first village inside the province, 35 to 40 kilometers from Tabqa. The offensive was temporarily halted on the 4th of June due to a sandstorm, but continued several hours later. During this time, an ISIL counter-attack recaptured Abu al-Laj village. However, the next day, the army seized Tal Syria Tel Hill, ISIL's last line of defense before the village, and soon after Abu al-Laj itself was recaptured. Later that evening, the army reportedly seized another village. As of the 6th of June, the military had advanced to within 24 kilometers from Tabqa Dam and Lake Assad, captured two more villages, 30 kilometers from the airbase, and was fighting at the Al-Razafeh crossroad and Raqqah International Highways police station. Meanwhile, ISIL launched a counter-attack at Ithriyah, with the SOHR reporting the jihadists had cut the road between Salamiyah and Ithriyah, while Al-Manara stated the attack had been repelled. On the 7th of June, the military was fighting 25 kilometers south of Tabqa in the Al-Razafeh area, and the SOHR initially reported the capture of the Al-Razafeh crossroad. However, the army had only reached the crossroad the following day, and took control of the area 2 days later, with government forces being 15 to 20 kilometers from Tabqa. During the advance, the military also seized the nearby oil fields. Throughout the day, tens of Russian and Syrian airstrikes hit ISIL positions at Tabqa. On the 11th of June, 5 ISIL teenage suicide bombers attacked army positions at the Al-Razafeh crossroad. 4 bombers managed to blow themselves up, killing 8 to 16 soldiers, while the fifth, who was a 13-year-old boy, was captured. Meanwhile, the military was reportedly just several kilometers from the airbase and waiting for reinforcements before attacking the base. On the 12th of June, the army advanced within 6 kilometers west of the Al-Razafeh district, south of Al-Raqqah. Shortly after midnight on the 13th of June, an ISIL assault, including a suicide truck bomber, was launched against Abu al-Laj. The attack was eventually repelled, after being stalled 15 kilometers from the airbase for more than 1 week. The offensive was restarted on the 19th of June, and the army quickly advanced to within 7 kilometers of the base. During the advance, they captured the nearby Thora oil field. However, later that day, an ISIL attack involving 3 suicide car bombers pushed back the military and recaptured the oil field. 12 hours later, the next day, the army launched a new assault towards the Thora oil field and managed, once again, to advance to less than 7 or 8 kilometers from the airbase after taking back Thora. However, a new ISIL counter-attack later in the day recaptured both the Thora and Sfaiyh oil fields, as well as the Al-Raqqah crossroad, pushing back the army to the border of Ar-Raqqah province, 40 kilometers from the airbase. In the evening, ISIL recaptured the village of Kirbat Zaidan, coming within striking distance of the army's positions at Al-Bu'alaj. The Syrian army withdrew from Al-Bu'alaj and the Raqqah crossroad on the 20th of June. In course of the withdrawal, ISIL overran positions of Syrian army and the government forces suffered heavy casualties, with 29 confirmed killed, 49 wounded and dozens missing in action, likely killed or captured. Among those killed was Major General Hassan Saudo, who was the Chief of Staff of the 10th Mechanized Division. On the 22nd of June, they withdrew from the final points in western Raqqah, including Zakia Crossroad and Syria Tel Hill, bringing the offensive to an end.